Sure. Obviously, frustrating game. For me as the coach, when you have the ingredients clearly there, because we've got some talented players, but it doesn't all come together the way you like it. I like to see the offense, defense, special teams all kind of carry their weight. Earlier in the game, defense did a really good job getting us turnovers. Offense struggled. Offense kind of got going to tie it up, and then the defense kind of struggled. So special teams today were hit and miss, and to me, that's where you kind of can tell the character of the team by how you play special teams. And we dealt with some injuries that maybe affected it, but here's what I always say: the injuries are part of the game, and we do things to develop our roster. So clearly frustrated that we've got the ingredients. I got to find a way to get it to come together in one game. And I also say, let's just remember, it's just one game. I know for us and as a program, sometimes we want to look at the big picture, but it's just one game. And we had some individual players do some good things in this game. Some of these young guys had to, I thought that the complementary players would have to show up in this game. I didn't realize it'd be due to injury, but we did have some individual players do some good things, but just not enough of them. So where does that leave us now? All right, it leaves us in that we've got 2 weeks to sit in this. For me, it gives me a chance to kind of recalibrate and look at the first third of the season and say, scheme-wise, take a look at that. Personnel-wise, take a look at that. Everything is on the board for us as we go into that next third. But we're always remember, it's just one game. Nobody told us it was going to be a direct route to the top. And, I still know that we've got enough talented players in there that have enough care factor about them. We'll use these 2 weeks to get healthy. Today, every time I turn around, a guy was being pulled and out. And so what I've got to do now is go back, take a look at everything that we're doing, evaluate our scheme, evaluate our personnel, take a look at what we're doing, and then get it fixed in the next couple of weeks. Have a big opportunity at home to get back on the winning side of things against a Northwestern team that's coming into the shell. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Michael, with your understanding, you're not using injuries as an excuse when you're down 14 and trying to come back. You don't have Ty, you don't have Cade. Just how much difficult is that to make that process?
I wasn't even thinking about it. They tell me they're out. It's next man mentality, and we've recruited well. Everybody that's on this team are guys that I brought here. So I brought guys here that should be prepared and should have the ability to replace it. That's how we try to build this thing. That's the kind of the sweet sauce about when you create depth. Unfortunately, our depth is inexperienced in probably two of the toughest areas, which is O-line and corner, which are the two areas that if you're trying to build a program, those are the two areas that you usually are most concerned about. So we got to take a look and make sure that we got the right people out there, but we also got to make sure we're doing the things we need to do to help with their development and growth by what we call.
And obviously, I know it's early, but just any early indication about Ty and Cade and Dante too as well?
I mean, Dante, his backup number 6, Brandon Jacobs was out. Cade and Ty, 85 went out back and forth. So a bunch of guys, but that's part of the game. And I really don't concern myself. It just, I have to make sure that I'm preparing those twos because this is what's going to happen, man. Indiana's a good team, and I think this is a really tough league that we play in. And there is not a Saturday that we show up as the Terps that we can just feel like we show up and win because every game will be a battle. That's what happens in the Big Ten, and I'm aware of it. I got to do my job to get our team prepared.
You're right. Coach, you've been at this stadium multiple times throughout your career here at Maryland. What was different about the atmosphere today?
Great atmosphere. I mean, this is what winning does for you consistently. And you got to give, again, Coach a tremendous amount of credit. Obviously his players think a lot of him because when you look and see he's got 13 guys that transferred from JMU, not a total rebuild, and because he's got guys that know his system and he's done a great job of implementing them. They're playing good. I mean, today they turned it over. I mean, we won the turnover battle but lost the game. And so to me, that shows that there's other areas. For us, the first thing that jumps out to me is, scheme-wise, are we doing the things that help our young O-line? Are we doing the things that help our corner? And then we got to just keep looking at the personnel and making sure that we're giving these guys the opportunity to compete. We'll get better. I know that. We'll get better.
Coach, why do the penalties continue at the rate that they do?
Well, Wayne, I have to figure that out. I know that question is going to continue to come up. until we get it fixed, you guys have every right to ask about them. As I said before, it's easy, that's a easy, like a low-hanging fruit to write about, because as I said, there are times when I turn in 15 plays, 14 plays, and 8 of them shouldn't have been called. But the thing for me are the undisciplined ones, the ones pre-snap and post-snap. Those are, I mean, again, I've raised 4 kids, and it sucks when they do dumb stuff, and you're the parent, and, you know, everybody's like, you're a bad parent. No, you're not. I mean, these kids, they're going to make these mistakes, and I got to get them fixed, and I got to continue to punish them, you know, pull them out the game, and then you put somebody else in, and we got injuries. I'm going to get that fixed, Wayne, I promise you. I will figure this penalty thing out. We'll get it fixed. But as a parent, as I said before, man, I preach about it. Y'all write about it so much that, again, it's to the point where I'm tired of talking about it. We just got to do the work.
With about a minute to go, it was 4th and whatever, and we were only down by 2 scores. Why did you decide to punt at that time? And then what happened on that punt conversion?
I'm not going to get into game. I mean, at some point, you know, we always talk about making some people quit. You know what? At some point, I don't want to get my quarterback hurt. We're already banged up. We have a bunch of people injured. We've got to develop our punt team, and punting coming out, we gave up. I'm glad we did, because it gave us a chance to see that we got to get that fixed too, the punt team, to give up the block punt. Our punter is a weapon, so I was hoping to change the field position and just end the game and get off the field. You know what? We weren't playing very good, and I made the decision to wave the white flag. So,
You put yourself now obviously in a tough position in the Big Ten at 0-2.
Yeah.
Do you have to say anything to the team to make sure that it doesn't spiral more, or what's the message?
it's one game. It's one game. That's the message. It's one game. You know, people think it's really hard and always say it's hard, but sometimes it's simple. It's as simple as cleaning up the things that you can control. It ain't that hard, and that's why for me when I sit up here, I'm optimistic, because at some point, you know what, you preach it enough, and I see the remnants of when some guys get it. And then I got a whole nother wave of guys that I got to start teaching these things, because they're being thrust into roles where they have to play for us and they got to play smart. And again, you know, it is that simple, you know, when you just think about it, because let's make sure we have the focus and the mental energy to not have pre-snap things. The competitive penalties, I always look at them, and those are the tough ones, because, you know what, as long as they're working the fundamentals, I can deal with that. It's just the pre and post snap. But as I said before, I'm frustrated about it. As a parent, having raised kids, it bothers you when they don't make good choices and good decisions. You know, and all I can do is just keep putting them on the bench, bringing the next guy in, and developing them so they understand.
So you got 2 more back on your right.
Coach, that last drive in the first half, they score a quick touchdown. How deflating was that for your team going into half, and then did it carry over into that second half?
Yeah, that's the middle 8, man, and that's the point. We deferred the kickoff today. We scored, and I'm anticipating, because our defense was playing good, and that's where I keep saying, like, you know, when you look at the ebb and flow of this game, there was times our defense was playing it the way we needed to, and we had offense just sputtering. And then when we finally got offense going to get the score, to think we're going to have a chance to get the second half first drive, that's where you steal, you know, that middle 8. And, you know, this is like the 3rd game I think we've given up points right before the half. And I got to look at that. I mean, it's on the tape. We've studied it, and I mean, again, you know, the corners on the outside. We played cover 2 on the big one they caught down the field, and our half-field safety didn't play the ball the right way, and I got to get that fixed, because you know what, Dante Trader ain't gonna always be out there, and unfortunately that's the case, and I can't do nothing. That's why I don't worry about things I can't control, but I can control getting 13, 6 who was out. I get 22 who we moved to the safety position today. I got to get that fixed.
And last one, Mike.
Well, I'll end on a good note.
Oh,
Your
let's
punt
go.
your punt returner, Braden Wazlauskas, was really good out there, and he had a fantastic catch like a hockey goalie off a deflection.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
mean,
talk about
he
him?
came in and made some plays. I need him to be more confident. You know, Braden is if he just plays with confidence, he's a good player. He's one of those players that I think he's better than what he is I think he's better than what he thinks he is at times. And I saw the ball not being confident. I saw him catch that ball, and normally he's a guy that we recruited that I know can run. And if he trusts his speed on that play and just take off him, he makes a big play. So first time with some extended time for him. He got some quality minutes. You know what? That's how he develops. Unfortunately, he's got to live with some of that. He did make a few plays for us, but, you know, a couple times we lost field position where we need to cover some of those punts down in there. We started the one, and, You know, you talk about going for it on fourth down, like, we gotta get him playing more confident, because he sure is a really good player. I just gotta help build his confidence and what he's capable of doing.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.